Hello, TCLers. We are back with week 5, day 2, watching the infamous couple of gays in the mid lane. Control versus I'll Take Mid. Living together, going to be going head to head, or in this case, back to back, because that is where their computers are. And they will be here ready to take on each other with the teams they've compiled. Both very, very good teams that we will be here to see tonight. So I am here sitting next to Mr. Sandy Snake. Snake, how you doing, man?
Doing good. I think this is the first time I've ever cast with you. This will be a fun series to cast together.
I think we've done maybe one or two. I thought maybe
You
not.
think? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, weird. Well, whatever. I don't remember such things. Um, I feel like there had to be one where there was whiskey involved, but who knows? Maybe that's why we don't remember it.
That's probably why we don't remember it.
Yeah,
This is making so much more sense
yeah,
now.
yeah. We're getting to the bottom of this, but yeah, we are here. Of course, two very very good teams, especially off the leash, who is 4-1 this season. Only lost one game against, or one match rather, against No Reply. Team Shai Halud, they've been kind of on and off. Some good, some bad. Obviously, Control has always shown up to be a great player. But like all TCL teams, there's going to be good players and there's going to be less good players, and you have to be able to manage the entire roster, and it's always not so easy. So we're going to be headed in soon. We are here watching a pro draft real quick. I do believe it has gotten started, and if it ends up going long, we'll try to bring it on camera here, but I think it will be fast enough, hopefully, where we can just get into Champ Select and go through it and do our commentary then as we're going down. So, Sandy, you know both of these teams. What's your analysis for tonight in having played both of these teams before?
Yeah, one team dominated us in scrims and in our official match. And then the other team, it went to 3 games, but I felt like we were in control most of the time. But oddly enough, I actually think both teams actually kind of played in a similar way. They're both pretty scrappy. They don't have a ton of macro plays or set plays, but they scrap and rotate to fight and skirmish a lot. So I think for TSH, the pressure is going to be on them because they're the lower rank seed currently. So kind of on paper to me, it looks like one team's doing the other team's style just a little bit better. That being said, I don't think TSH necessarily can't win. I think there's angles they could win. I think at the beginning of the season they looked a lot stronger, so cracks kind of started to show. But if they can find a form that they did in their first series or two, um, I still think it's possible that you can take games off people who are super scrappy. There's always room for error, if you know what I mean.
100%. And sorry for everybody. You are going to be listening to my sweet animals in the background. The moment they get going, there's nothing I can do to stop it. So that is life. They're adorable. Their names are Molly and Raleigh. Molly is the more preferred one, and she's also the louder one. So, you know how that goes. But anyway, yeah, it is what it is, and I've always talked about every team I'll take mid plays on. They're playing team deathmatch, right? We're playing League of Legends, and they're playing TDM.
Yeah.
They exist to take kills, and like one of the ways you can lose to that team is if you try to play their game, right? That's what they want to do, right? Like I'll take mid starts roaming bot. You have to always know that he's never going to complete the roam. He is waiting for you to show up so that he can 1v1 you, because that's just what he wants to do, right? And I think Control certainly plays a very different style, and I know that he's been encouraged a lot by some of the folks in the league to get back to what he used to do, which is being known for these sort of aggressive control mages, the Oriana, the Syndra, things that he does really well, and maybe stop trying to reinvent the wheel. So we'll see what happens tonight. I mean, again, a lot of outcomes can come from tonight, but if Control is going to show up going into playoffs with any kind of mental advantage, we're going to hope that he shows up tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I like the I'll take midpoint because I said it to so many people because I've played against them in TCL quite a bit. And you always know what you're going to get, but it's still really hard to play against him.
Yes.
It's kind of like a frustrating thing. Like even if you do okay in the 1v1 in lane, you always are like telling your team like this is what's going to happen like in 5 seconds, be ready for it, and he always seems to make it work. So I think a big thing playing against I'll take mid is getting your team on the same page, knowing the type of pressure he's going to exert. Because he does it really well, but there is room to punish how someone plays like that. Just like if someone plays too control styled and too passive, there's always goods and bads to each thing. So I think it's on the bot lane, especially to respect the MIA pings for I'll take mid, or it's up to control to really keep him in lane where the outside influence can't come in. I also think too, Coach had a really good start to the beginning of the season with early game pressure. I think as the game gets further on, he gets a little bit less effective. Not necessarily he's not doing a bad job, but not as effective as his early games were. But I just remember in some of the games he was playing, he was just everywhere on the map, setting up his lanes to have a successful mid game. So I think there is a opportunity for him to punish I'll take mid kind of being aggressive if Coach is present.
Yeah, one of the things that I would note about Coach is I think he's one of the strongest solo junglers in the league.
Yeah.
I think that, him as a TCL newcomer that nobody knows, and obviously he's gotten caught up in the memes and in the dreams and all that kind of stuff. But I think that it's hard, right? Coming in as a new player and expecting to communicate with people and knowing what they're going to do, that type of thing. It's very tough, and it kind of shows, right? Because he gets these lead. He takes a lot of the kills early game. He takes it into the mid game. He starts engaging ahead of his team. People don't follow up. The game gets turned around, that type of thing, right? And it's like, if you can get aligned with your team, especially with this bot lane, I don't see any reason they can't win the league, right? Like, they're a very strong team, but that's where it's going to come down to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I think there's also a couple picks that are kind of bait picks for him. They are good champs, but they don't necessarily meet criteria to be great for a team.
How would you define one of those?
One of them is definitely Master Yi. I know that's the meme, and it's not. He's a good Master Yi, obviously, and he plays a lot of it. He knows the ins and outs of the champ. But it also just doesn't matter how good you are. Sometimes that champ doesn't offer you nearly as much as some other champions do. So I don't want him to get baited into that unless there's a crazy good angle for it. I think Trundle could be a super big bait pick sometimes. People really get like this lethal tempo, like press the attack mindset where I will just auto attack someone to death the entire time. And I think I'll take mid's team is scrappy and smart enough that they could probably not be afraid of it. So don't lock in Trundle too early if it's not a good angle. Same thing with Nocturne. Don't pick Nocturne as your solo diver. It's just you can get a couple kills, around the 10-minute mark, but it gets really awkward as the game goes on if you don't have picks that make sense as a team with certain objectives. I think that's a definition of TCL a lot, but I just remember when we played TSH and I casted one of their series, it felt like every single pick was just picked for its isolation reason. Like, this is good into top lane, this mid is good into this mid lane, this spot is good into this spot. But then all of a sudden you have like 5 champs that didn't really flow together or have like a great concrete plan going forward. So I don't want them to get trapped into bait picks, especially against someone like I'll take mid who has very defined picks. He's going to make it work even if you try to like counter pick him. I think you're better at picking something that has a better objective to end the game with.
That's a concept I talk about all the time, and I think I talked about it on one of the casts recently. And I think, it's something at least our team tries to find strength in, because I think it's something that we do pretty well. But again, when you do draft, you can't just look at everything in the conversation of what's good against this lane and what do I want to play, right? It's like, when we played that, I think week 2 game where we picked the Vayne top against the Mordekaiser, everyone was asking me like, wow, what a dumb pick, that type of thing. The thing is, though, is that like when you look at a team comp and you say, okay, I think in that game we had like a Jarvan, we had a Ryze, we had like a Jinx, and we had some kind of tank, right? And like turns out you can actually do that kind of thing if you understand what the comp of the team is. And they had a Mordekaiser top and a Mumu jungle, and we knew that gank wasn't going to happen. And it's like, picks are to be looked at in the context of the entire team, not just the lane, not just whatever. And it's like, maybe you did find a lane, but there's a whole game after that. And I think one of the things we talk about, and you're the Masters player, so you know better than anyone here. It's like, the higher you go, the more those lane matchups happen. But you can't convince me that 2 gold players need the perfect counter pick to make the
Yeah.
game. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, right.
It's
And
it's
that being
irrelevant.
said, too, like in draft, there's always give and take. Someone's always going to get an advantage somewhere on the map. Like rarely is it a slam dunk. All 5 lanes have the most ideal setup. So like someone always has to take the loss at some point. And yeah, like that's a good point. Like should your lowest ranked player take the counter pick? Should you always pick for counter pick? Yeah, I mean it's always a big discussion too. But let's kind of talk about this draft because
It's getting locked in
sorry.
fast.
Yeah, it is. And Off the Leash has done something that I see so many teams do is you have a triple AP topside. Volibear obviously does some split damage, but he has a ton of magic damage in that kit. Um, they're kind of lucky that TSH is kind of has a weird topside match because they don't have great tanks or people that utilize Merc Tread super effectively against them because there's just a heavy amount of magic damage on the side of Off the Leash.
Yeah, I will note here that it's not to say that there's an incredibly effective early strategy of stacking MR, at least so far from what we're seeing on the top side. We're probably going to see, I'm presuming, I'm guessing a Caitlyn is what we're going to see out of Speedy here. If I had to guess, it's a potential for a Zeri as well. Those are kind of the two that I would plug in.
Ashes. I was just about to say this Ashes turbo here. Oh no, maybe that's not what they wanted.
These people.
It's so funny.
It's a good thing that Fruge isn't on the cast because we'd all be going to jail. But like, sometimes he has choice language for what's going on here. They've messed up Pro Draft twice. They've now messed up Champ Select.
I will give them a little credit when I did Pro Draft when we versed them. I had such a hard time getting it to work. Anytime I would click certain champions, it would lock in something totally random. So it did take us a few times. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's what's going on here.
I think when I look at a team comp that has Control, Speedy, Jazz, Chuck, Mid, Cal, Caridian. I won't throw the rest under the bus, but I ain't giving any benefit of the doubt. I think I'm giving
a little brain diff here.
Yeah, I'm giving the right amount. I think.
He said it, not me. He said it, not me. I think you guys are all awesome and smart.
Verd said, with each passing day, Abarn looks more and more like Homelander. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that.
I don't think that's an insult. I don't think so. I think it's a compliment, actually.
Yeah, if it's just look like him, I think that's a compliment. That's
yeah.
You got to be very careful with the interpretation there, but yeah, I mean, listen, Verd said it. Verd would never say anything mean about me, so I'm gonna go take that as a +1 right there. But so what? I'm confused though. What got borked there? Because the Ashe got locked and then they quit. So
yeah, I'm not really
sure. Maybe the Ashe was not what was intended.
I hope not, because Ashe is. I was going to say it like right before they picked it. Ashe's turbo there. It's a really good pick into Jhin, not only just in lane, but as a holistic counter. Your range is just effective for him. And then like they don't have great engage against you. Ashe can kite more than Volibear for days. So just based on what you had seen, Ashe looked really good here. And I like the pick potential that her R can offer. Even if you fall behind, you still have some utility that you can offer the team. Whereas like a Zeri, if you're behind on Zeri, you really feel the effects of being behind on Zeri. Just there's nothing left in the champ that she offers.
No, it's not, and obviously you have to be set up with the correct lane as well.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. Interesting to see, and we didn't actually call this out, but they locked the Jhin?
So they banned. Okay. So maybe the Ashe pick really wasn't supposed to be it then. Who knows what it's going to end up being? But Jhin
we saw Red
was picked, but now it's banned.
Okay, that's a little sus, but
yeah,
I'm sure.
I trust that they just had a miscommunication and they are following Pro Draft. If not, hopefully they would speak up and say, "Hey, there's something that wasn't adding up here."
These guys are complaining. It's not that hard. Okay, so that is going to be the Caitlyn right there from Caridian. That was what that was supposed to be. Who knows what happened? Yeah, obviously you were correct about the Ashe. Certainly with the Caitlyn, it is looked at a little bit differently. The Galio is going to look good here. Not the type of thing you want to have where you've got someone else on the team that has that dive capability that Galio can dive into. We got the pike here from our friend Nomad in the bot lane, and that's showing on screen as the Lowry. I think I explained this, but our champ select thing hasn't been updated. Actually, clearly hasn't been updated given Calbert's name. Just it's
Oh yeah.
well, I mean, it's already showing on stream, so I may as well say it. But it is Cuck Profit. That's great. Yeah, I think it uses the like. There's like these are names that are real names people have, but it's not their like display names or whatever. For some of these, and so we've got Cuck Profit in the top lane,
and the missing ward TV.
Although,
TV.
yeah, that's better. I was just gonna say, I don't know what's worth that or P North 10-inch flaccid.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is supposed to be a PG maybe 13 stream. I got a friend whose name I don't even think I'm comfortable saying it on stream, but is one of the funniest names I've ever seen. Some people who play League really just they come up with it, man. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Bunch of
I'm not
deranged.
that creative or immature, so I'm just gonna stick with the simple names here.
Well, okay, let's not go that far. I'm sure you're plenty immature.
I don't know about that. You could ask my wife. I'm probably the most mature person in this Discord channel. Maybe not. Maybe next to Bush League.
But you're not even the most mature person on this cast. Look at these beautiful grays right here.
All right, focus up. Let's talk about the draft before we start drooling over Abarn over here.
I can't believe Karthus got through. That's the only thing I am surprised by. We saw a Nocturne ban, a LeBlanc ban, and an Ahri ban. I think if you're banning Ahri, I played against his Ahri. It's not high pressure. It's certainly not bad, but like when I think of champs that control plays, I don't look at Ahri and say, man, that's terrifying. You know what I mean? The Karthus, we saw it absolutely demolish like 2 games. I got to wonder that, what were they seeing? I'm going to say that Karthus right here gets a Leandries and just the top side of the map completely explodes. But that's my take here. I think it is going to come down to that, and I don't think any pressure is going to come from OTL fast enough for that to be different, but tell me if you think otherwise. Obviously,
no. The Karthus is a really good pick. There isn't a ton of pressure unless like the Volibear really decides to try to invade. But invading against Karthus is hard when Karthus is in the meta because he clears absurdly fast. So it's really hard to keep on tempo with him to predict one where he's going to be, or 2, if you don't actually get the kill on him and he clears and is able to get away from you, you lose a ton of tempo in your jungle, which just always feels bad. And Karthus is in just such a crazy spot right now. He's not nerfed yet. I think it's 14, 13.
Well, he did get nerfed. He got nerfed.
This is the nerf Karthus?
No, yeah, it was like 2 patches ago.
I think there's another round of nerfs coming though. Like they're kind of shooting him like in the foot really hard.
Thank God.
I could be wrong, but anyway, he just feels really strong, especially in solo queue. And like you said, if Coach has had games on it where he's had good performances, it is a scary thing to pick into. Because again, their team doesn't have like crazy engage or ways to get on him, nor do they necessarily have poke, which is kind of the 2 things you want against Karthus. If you can kill him from range, it's really good, or if you can have something that has crazy trigger pull and then kind of run away after the fight, it can work. They might get out tempoed here quite a bit. And again, your only magic damage or your only physical damage is on the bot side of the map. It kind of makes fighting over grubs a little awkward sometimes. We'll see. I don't know. I did kind of want to shout out I'll Take Mid though, because I think this season he's played a couple different champs and his normal champ pool than you see. We haven't seen a ton of like Diana, Echo, Silas, which at times have been banned out, but he's picked up a couple other champs that it's been interesting to see him on. Obviously, he's played a ton of Ahri recently. He's been picking up the brand. I think we saw a pretty good Annie game from him too, in a Corki game. So it's definitely a different look from I'll Take Mid, I think. Same play style, but different champs.
Keep us going. By the way, for some reason our stream is
Kaputs.
There we go. I figured it out. Something happened. Someone broke something. All right, we are in, fellas. I'm sorry for the quick technical delay, but we're ready to go. So we're in, and we actually see an invade here on the top side. It's been warded out, so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot to come from it. But listen, it's TCL. We should be invading here. You know, TCL was made for invades, and I don't like people that don't like invades.
We tried invading once and we got aced right at the beginning of the game, so that's a no-go for me right now.
Was that against us?
No, it was against Off the Leash.
Oh, really?
It was over in like
Same.
15 minutes. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal.
We stacked one, and IREP hit a 5-man taunt at the start of it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, with the Galio, right?
Yeah, that was
awesome.
pretty heavy from our boy. I mean, you know, the invades are good. You just got to be like, one of the things I hate seeing is when people like, they'll like take an invade and then like 3 people will walk back and they'll walk into their blue, and it's like, one of these days that's going to get actually taken advantage of. Like people who split off from an invade and just like, they're probably not here, walk into bush, and then you just die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes also with the invades, it's like how aggressive people tend to play it sometimes. Sometimes people are like, if we invade, all 10 people have to use every summoner, and we all have to fight to the death. And it's like, sometimes you can get 1 or 2 kills and just walk away. But sometimes it's just like an absolute keyboard fucking face roll, and people just
that is one of the things you'll notice if you're trying to figure out, oh, we missed that.
Oof, that's rough to see. Oh, this is bad.
This is real. What?
Oh my gosh! What the heck is going on?
I can't even cast it. What? Well, okay, all right. So I guess level 1, Nomad goes, hits a hook. Speedy backs in kind of a bad place. Galio has to take the hook for him, and Galio's just gonna die at level 1.
That felt really bad because you feel like if Speedy just cancels his back and just walks away, Galio doesn't have to tank that, and there's no problem. No one burned summoner spells. I think that was just a dry 2v2 kill. That I don't know. It just looked like they weren't really looking for a second.
Clover, I don't think Clover thought that was gonna kill him. That last auto attack, so he didn't. He obviously was in range to flash away once he knew that Caitlyn was gonna have it, but. Yeah, you know, whatever. It's one of those, last regular season games. Sometimes the nerves come out, and hard to blame people. But you definitely have to come back. And Speedy, by the way,
he ended up staying. After
he stayed. Okay, he stayed.
Funny.
No,
yeah. Right. After that whole shenanigans, he just says, "You know what? I'll stay." But he kind of had to, honestly. I don't even think he could have backed in the first place. He was still level 1. If he backed there, he just drops.
Coming in here, Coach finding the wall of despair onto I'll take mid here, who does have flash, gonna go over the wall, control, binding light, will miss, and I'll take mid, we'll get out.
I kind of wanted to talk about the Lux pick. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping off topic here, just after all the bot lane pressure that we've seen. Ooh, almost lands on the trap. That would have been
actually Critian's low. Okay, there's the option right there, goes in, but great job from Nomad, keeping off the carry. Speedy wants to go a little bit deep here. Coach is in, here. Ready to go. Critian should be able to find one. Will it be enough? Gets the return, and Coach will pick up a much-needed kill, starting his game off as well. Wow, this is the bot lane, guys.
No, that was huge. I actually like that turn from Clover. You know, that bot lane just felt really rough for them, but he saw a really good angle. Flashes in quick. Tries to get a little dash onto Critian as well, who has to burn a flash. And even though Critian's backing with a little bit more tempo, this absorbed a lot of the pressure that the bot lane was feeling. Their wave also crashed, so they'll be able to get a bounce back and have a nice neutral lane state. Yeah, it's a good run from Coach, and it's good heads-up play from Clover. I wanted to talk about this mid lane, though, because I think Lux is a champ that there are some people in TCL that pick it. I think this champ is, like, actually low-key really strong.
Yeah.
Even in solo queue, her range is absolutely absurd. That how much range you can abuse and how much AoE she can abuse, especially with first strike. It gets really difficult to lane against her. That being said, I'll take mid is kind of playing it over.
Oh, Nomad in, trying to find Coach right here. Coach is actually kind of in a spot.
Exhaust.
Yeah, exhaust goes down. Could have taken it, but
Nomad's kind of in a weird spot though. See if Galio can find him out.
Okay, Galio has found Pike. You're right. Control flash is in. They're going to be able to find the kill. Not enough mana. I'll take mid.
Look at the dragon too.
Yeah, dragon getting going on Chuck going in. Speedy Now able to find the kill from Chuck, who just goes a little deep. I think he thought he had more. But the sauce was not there. And that's kind of a big win for Team Shai Halud.
It's huge. This is one of those things I was talking about, like, playing against Karthus. Like, even if the jungler's not invading, if someone's trying to invade him, it is so deceptively hard to kill him. Because most of them do take exhaust, at least in solo queue. It's a pretty common summoner spell. But also, he just clears so fast, so it's hard to track him. But also, he is just hard to kill without getting killed back, also because of his passive. So, you saw it right there. Karthus was able to buy, enough time to get control to walk over to help, and then his bot lane was able to respond quickly, get a couple kills. Chuck's going right back to the dragon after we stall him fall to it. There's not enough tempo on the map. Karthus is okay just clearing, so Chuck dies to the dragon and Speedy, but he stays persistent, goes back, grabs an objective, which I don't hate. But yeah, this is a really good start for Karthus. He has a lot of tempo over the Volibear.
I'm like 99% sure we're going to see a Karthus win and a Karthus ban next game. It's just like the champ, like, if you don't know how to abuse it, which I don't know that any of us do, or like abuse when you're playing against it, then he's just going to sit there and scale into infinity. And like, you got some juicy champs that are going to take a big Karthus ult.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot that this team can build to feel good about it. Like, a common item that some of the tank supports build is obviously Locket and Redemption. They're good fights. They're good items if you're going to be fighting a lot together. But there's no champion on this team that's going to really build either of them either. So you don't have a lot of things that put a ton of pressure onto him. You don't have a crazy amount of range to put pressure on him besides the Caitlyn. So Karthus feels super turbo. And Volibear's not the champ to pick into Karthus.
He's not, but I will give Chuck some credit here. He's kind of doing what he needs to do, knowing that he's not going to be abusing the Karthus. And he's gone, he's taken the dragon, went straight to Grubs, grabbed that, and it's like, you like a guy who's trying to make the objectives happen so the rest of his lanes can kind of safely play the game. I respect that,
Yeah, for sure. He's only down like 10 farm at the moment, just like 2 or 3 camps. But yeah, it's huge. He's got both neutrals across the map, which is quite huge, especially that a couple of the plays around the map did not end up going in their favor after the last like 2 or 3 minutes. There was definitely angles where TSH could have forced, but Chuck was quick enough. He capitalized on the fact that was happening. And he is a level down, but again, it's kind of the nature of what you picked the Volibear for and what they picked the Karthus for.
By the way, just speaking of things I hate, the fact that Lux can do that.
Yeah, she has crazy wave clears so fast. Compared to other mages, she really does. And she's a really good first strike abuser too. It is so easy to hit your E on people. And you do that every time first strike is up. You really get a big chunk of gold added quickly. Then you get to your Luden's Echo quick. It makes clearing the wave even faster. Yeah, I think Lux is low-key a strong champion. Especially into something like Brand, who Brand has such an annoying trading pattern when he puts the little pool of fire down and then hits his E and it seems to spread beyond the circle radius that the indicator is and it just burns you for a while. Brand is hard to lane against, but Lux can negate that just because she can stand so far away and still safely clear the wave and push out against him.
I played Akali against Brand the other day and it made me want to quit League of Legends forever.
Yeah,
it's like the change they made where his E auto spreads didn't need to happen.
No. The big problem with it for me is like he gets it's free damage because it's point and click, but it's a lot of free damage because it burns forever. I think that's what feels really bad about it, is because it's basically unavoidable. You're gonna take the damage from the spell plus his passive effect from it. So especially now, there's just really good items for him. I'm gonna try to cancel a couple bases here. Speedy does get his base off. Is quite far behind in this lane. Does have 2 kills to his name, but the CS and the XP are quite the big difference, and his lane is in a really bad spot for this.
Yeah, that pretty much literally the entire difference is in that bot lane, which is both good and bad. Chuck getting gone on, or rather going right here, hunt to coach. Exhaust hits, but it's actually not going to be enough. Pyke just comes in and finds a great ult. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the thing.
I think he got him.
Woo! Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Luxalt barely misses. Oh, but right here, Speedy's going to be able to find one more auto attack, and he will flash in and get the kill back onto it. Really really important to the guy we just said had the the gold deficit. Now he's pretty much back in business. So
yeah. Does have to burn the flash, so there's a little summoner spell disadvantage, so does need to play a little careful around the pike or maybe the Volibear dives later. But you take that if you're speedy, especially how the early game ended up going for your lane the first couple minutes. And also the Karthus dies, but the kill goes to the pike, which isn't like terribly terrifying. He does have passive gold that gets split up between other people. But as your Karthus, man, you still got an XP lead, you still got a camp lead, and you got a Dark Harvest stack out of it, and you're really close to your Blackfire Torch, which I'm assuming he's going to build. So you take that as Karthus, that death really doesn't impact you that much.
So this is kind of funny. One of the things I want to note is like, it kind of looks like Nomad's feeding if you look at the scoreline. He's 1-3 here, but his Caitlyn is almost 30 CS ahead, and does have 2 kills, and so has this little gold lead. And the question's like, I don't know if he's making the right plays or not, right? You could make an argument that those plays just require him dying. I'm not sure. Grubs are being started up right here by Chuck. Again, as we're talking, doing such a great job on the objectives right now. And it looks like if we're coach, we're wanting to start this dragon so that we can at least trade here. And I don't believe that at this time, off the leash is going to have any opportunity to defend against it.
No, that is a 6 grub stack for off the leash, which for their team I don't actually think matters too much. It doesn't seem that effective on any of their champions. They don't have these crazy split pusher side laners, which Board can side lane well. He's gonna get super chunked here.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. Speedy is gonna have to be. Hopefully, doesn't catch too much damage before he goes. Speedy deciding to stay because Coach has found his way in right here. Freedom Punch
does
in.
have R as well.
Yep. Oh my God! So much damage. Caridian's gonna hit on a Nomad. The ult will go. Looks like Caridian will get the full kill gold for that because of the Pike passive. Late TP from Jazz. I don't think there was anything happening from that.
No,
TP.
Just a little, I guess, afraid of how much they would end up committing. But yeah, just a little bit much as we have a TP coming in from I'll take mid. Okay, they thought about trying to collapse out of that. That actually might have been scary.
I think that's one of those TPs where he wanted to TP back to lane and just said, well, may as well see if something happens, but he's probably going to use it anyway. Oh, man. This has been a game of stopbacks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I guess what was it? It's just, it's so much just free damage that you just get. And then the items, Blackfire Torch is such a big item for so many mages right now. And it's just free damage.
Gank goes on to Jazz, and he's going to have to find the Death Realm right here. Will the Death Realm go down? It has not been used yet. Okay, Death Realm used. I think he used it late. Yeah, he used it really late because now he's in range of tower. Unfortunately, Chuck. Oh, he does able to find the kill. All right, so he will be isolated right here. Coach has shown up right there. Death is going to go down and not going to have enough damage. Yeah, the ult's going to come, but it's not going to do anything. That was the communication thing we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of just got stat checked there. Volibear and Mord have some of the craziest base stats out of top lane and jungle type champions. They're just really strong, and compared to Trundle and Karthus at this point. Yep, just kind of got stat checked. Music just a little bit too far up in the lane. Didn't respect where the Volibear could be, unfortunately. It's going to give Calvert a huge lane a huge advantage in this top lane now.
Yeah, unfortunately,
a lot of CS, 2 kills.
Is a top laner, that can be one of the most tilting situations where it's like, I like the fact that Music teleported. Clover right here, go on.
Flash.
Yep, flash taunt. Gets a flash out of I'll take mid. That's pretty big, especially out of an Momo brand, but. Anyway, I like the fact that we saw, right here, this will be a kill. I'm pretty sure Nomad, a little bit more damage. The ult will come down. It won't be quite enough. Ult coming out of Nomad. That's huge. Sparking Light right here, whatever the heck it's called. Coaching on I'll take mid, who's blown all of his damage. But the Caitlyn ult will come in and Control actually flashes over the Caitlyn ult right there. But nobody has enough mana to be able to take I'll take mid down. He's just going to keep getting auto attacked to death. Speedy finally gets in on it. Just has enough. Great job from Speedy showing up right on time for that. Root in on Little Chuck. Speedy looking like he wants to go a little bit farther, but Caridian backing up Chuck here. And, wow, we got an interesting looking game here.
Yeah, it's kind of coming down to some scrappy fights. Like we said, both teams kind of like to scrap a lot. They like to fight. They like to put pressure. They're both putting a lot of pressure on this mid lane. it is even kills, but there is a sizable gold lead for the size of off leash.
Nomad, the
getting gone on.
gates!
Good
Yes!
sidestep.
Speedy, there is no ult, but will Caridian have enough damage? Needs 2 more auto attacks, and the Ignite actually will be able to take him down at the very end.
Unfortunate. It's a good sidestep from Speedy on the initial E from the pike, but Hook still pulls him back into the center of the lane, and I kind of agree with Speedy after you... if you don't flash that Hook, I agree holding your flash after that, you're kind of just too far up, you're going to take too much damage, but almost a good play, great collapse by Nomad, and good job for Caridian being in the spot to kind of pick up that kill. Chuck, again, putting a lot of pressure on these neutral objectives. There does come a point where Karthus can't out-farm you and power farm you, but if that's all he's doing, and not necessarily getting a ton of kills or neutrals off of it, you take that as the volley bear. So good job from him keeping up that tempo. It buys you a lot of time if things ever go wrong for you, just because you have so many of the neutral objectives on the map down.
Yeah, he is. This Pike, I just want to call out from Nomad, is absolutely terrifying. He has died 4 times, but he's getting in there and he's making a lot of plays. He's got his item. And certainly the fact that the Caitlyn has the kills, you know, comes from him, and he's been able to find 3 himself that have buffed up and given gold to other people. So we like it, but that's going to be a huge laser coming onto him. He is caught a little far forward. Clover wants to go forward, and the ult's actually going to hit Caridian. The cleanse will come through. They're going to find 1 kill. Yeah, flash on Brand right there. Coach able to find the kill right there at the end of the day. Clover still alive, but Caridian might actually be walking into Clover right now. Oh, yeah, Caridian! That was very close. Animation will stop in time, and everyone's going to walk their separate ways.
Yeah, I like the picks are there from TSH. They have some decent CC with the Ash R, the Galio taunt. Control can hit from a range of some CC and some follow-up burst. Punish the no flashes on the side of off the leash, get a little dragon, but that being said, Calber is an absolute menace on this top side. Yeah. He has a huge lead over the Trundle. He's going to get another tower.
Trundle might win this. Yeah, we got the 1v1 on this. That's going to be really, really close and come down to it. I don't know if Calber still has W. Well, yeah, I guess Trundle. Yeah, Trundle wins it, right? Fair enough. Whew. Whew, indeed.
It's a gold diff right now. There is just way too much gold in that Mordekaiser. I don't even think he used his shield yet either, so I don't think Calber was anywhere close to actually going down, sadly.
Yeah, I think Music probably underestimated the speed that Calbert was going to
take the tower.
Yeah, take the tower. Well, because what we saw is he was actually sitting mid lane, and I think he was there because he wanted to back the team up. But 1 quick second, Control way in over his skis right here. Stun's going to be able to come down. He's trying to find damage on the I'll take mid. The Karthus Requiem will be down. A little bit burn. A little bit left, but I'll take mid. But I think he will survive here. Meanwhile, Invade coming towards the red buff. Coach has already gotten it. And yeah, unfortunately, Coach... I see why he ulted that. I don't think it actually looked like that was going to be a kill, but listen, if he's going to pad the damage stats, then maybe that's okay too.
Hey, Dark Harvest. He does get a Dark Harvest stack out of it. It does go a long way with Karthus. It sounds like Cope, but...
that's true, that's true.
They add up, and there are some Karthus players who even just ults at team fights that... just to get the stacks. You know, it is a long cooldown, but to them, if they can get to a 25-minute, 30-minute game state and it's relatively close in gold, they take that. This game's not necessarily that. There is a huge gold lead. I haven't really said it too much. Calbert has I don't even know what the gold difference is between the 2 top laners, but it's got to be. It's almost 3,000, which is
it's a majority. Yes, gold. Exactly. Yeah. It's a majority of the lead here. I mean, you know, the Trundle. The problem with Trundle is that if Trundle gets behind, he's got no sauce. You know what I mean? There's nothing.
Yeah.
The whole point of Trundle is you kind of got to be ahead. You have to be a menace. That being said, I also am the team that we ignored a Trundle taking our base and we lost. Literally against this team. Our one loss against this team was when the Trundle just ignored us and went and took our base. So like, it's like that weird. It's like that weird middle ground, right? Like it's kind of both. Like, he's going to be useless in the team fights, but if he parks himself and, like, trusts the team not to int, then sometimes you lose the game. So I hope, you know, maybe that's what they're thinking is an opportunity here.
Yeah, and it's not that Music can't play Trundle, but I said it in terms of Coach, I guess, when I said I thought Trundle was kind of like a bait pick. And this feels like a bait pick Trundle game. It feels like it was picked just to whack on whatever top laners in his face. because there's not a great, I don't know, this isn't a great Trundle game. You get destroyed if you run into this team. They have so much damage with the Brand, the Caitlyn, and the Pike, and you also don't have a great target to ult, as we see a little attempt of a Dragon sneak, or a Baron sneak from the side of Leash.
They know that they're so far behind. Oh, you stick that all day. You stick that, you make them come to you. It's going to be close, but yeah, all right, so it does get seen by the Hawk shot. Good job from Speedy, knowing that that's probably what was happening and using the Hawk shot there. But yeah, that's, I almost kind of just wish they had said, you know what, you walk towards us, see what happens.
That is definitely a you call. I guess I play that a little safer because I am terrified of that Ashe arrow. I'm terrified of that Lux ult. I'm terrified of that Karthus walking in onto us. It's a different player mindset. Who knows which one was right, but definitely an angle for both.
You know, and we've lost some steals, but
oh, that's why the strict control still does so much damage. It is the support, but it is still a ton of damage that control puts out.
Wait, are we getting trolled by a Death Realm? Wow, look at that. I think we're getting trolled by a Death Realm. Yeah, look at my screen, or it's the Pike.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Please don't be broken. Oh, this is gonna be broken for the rest of the game.
It adds a little spooky theme to
Why?
It. It's not that bad.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Riot Games.
It's Riot spaghetti code. They're only $1 billion company. What do you expect from them?
Yeah, I can't believe how I'd imagine that. Caliber getting gone on Death Realm. We're getting Death Realmed and Pike spooked. Oh my god, I'm crazy. I can't speak. I played 9 holes of golf today. My brain doesn't work. And that's all it takes for old man me. But
Baron though, they're on Baron.
Yeah.
Do they know?
I think that this is a really important call right here. Lux does have the laser back up. We'll try to steal it. It's not going to work. And yeah, that's the problem. Is that like, sure, you got Caliber, feels great, but look what you gave for it, right? It's why you can't just myopically say, oh, free gank bot lane, and we see that a lot in TCL, and I'm glad to watch it so decisively being punished.
Yeah, I like the call quickly to force that after they saw how many people were committed to get Calbert down. I will say though, just a little bit of cope for the side of TSH. Calbert doesn't have Baron, which he is most of their gold, and with 6 grubs, so the split push pressure is a lot worse. Also, they don't have a ton of siege, so it is hard to make use of the Baron.
Yep. Let's see if they can force drag in right here. Chuck's actually going for it. Goes over, takes the blast cone, but he's been rooted for an eternity. Chuck is totally CC'd. A large ult from control, hitting quite a few people. Jazz in on the front line, but he gets absolutely one-tapped, as we kind of expected right here. Coach getting pulled into the enemy team. This could be an option here. The Requiem will go down. Will it be enough? No, the heal doesn't come out from the Pike because the Pike was invisible to enemy champions, which is the condition in which he heals. Yeah, that's tough. That's a really good play there from off the leash.
It is. It's a quick collapse back. I actually thought they'd be able to, that TSH would be able to get that dragon and get out quick enough, but not able to happen. They do get the dragon, but it is a 3-for-1. I think it might slow the Baron tempo enough though that they might take that. But again, you're kind of seeing the problem that this Trundle is having.
Oh my
so
god!
Much damage back onto that. I told you, man, Lux is a sleeper, just absolute punisher of a pick. She does so much damage, and it is so hard to get on her if she has flash up. Yeah, and then she's got the Malignant. She can spam those R's a ton. Those are going to be coming out way more frequently, especially as more CDR items come in.
Yeah, it is. In that last fight, unfortunately, exactly what we suspected could happen with the Trundles, exactly what happened. Ran to the enemy team and got absolutely one-tapped. And the problem is no one's stacking armor MRs, so you're not getting a lot from it. When you play Trundle, you expect, like, okay, I ult, I'm really tanky, I go, and it's like, but if you didn't ult someone who's tanky, then you're not actually getting that treatment right here. Oh, big ult right there, going on speed. Plans. The cleanse is not going to be up. Will the taunt hit? It does hit. Justice punch in, a little bit more on Crittian. That's all it's going to take. Crittian to go down. Little Chuck right here coming in on the flank, looking for the return. It will go down. Pike up to find it. Huge binding from control. Hits 2 people. That is going to be a lot. Tons of damage, and the chase will come down. This is what you pick the Ashe for. Speedy doing a great job, dodging everything coming out from I'll take mid. Great pillar right here. Control getting gone on in the Death Realm. He's going to be in the middle of a Jazz right here, looking for Speedy on the other side. Control able to find it. Will Speedy live for long enough? He will. The damage will come down. Need a little bit more. Calbert finds 1 return, but that's all she wrote. TSH gets the 5 for 3. huge play from them, and they're looking pretty good despite being down almost, what, 5k gold? A little over 5k.
Yeah, it's a good fight from them, and you get the Baron off of them. They really, for how much the gold lead was, and having Baron on the other team with 6 scrubs, they don't siege well, but there's always a potential to lose a lot of your base. You basically just lost like I think 1.5 outer towers, which I don't know. At this point of the game, it's not that consequential. You didn't get your base cracked at all, and you're threatening soul point. Which is huge, but I kind of want to speak to the power of the Ashe pick, because I think Speedy's obviously started off the game a little behind. He's a little behind in farm, but he is sitting at 8-2 and 6, so you have to respect the damage that he has. But also, you don't have a ton of concrete engage. A pike hook is not concrete engage. It's not something that you can definitively lock down a carry with. And you kind of saw how Speedy could actually kite out fights pretty well with Ghost up, and then having slowing with the volley, his Ashe R, and then also his Q. He can buy a lot of space for his team.
Control getting gone on instant teleport by Jazz. I don't actually know if the teleport saves him, because obviously Control's just going to get slammed into the Death Realm, but
right.
Calbert does walk out of it. But now, Control actually stayed.
Calbert a little stuck now too.
Yeah, and there's no Baron up to actually... Okay, so yeah, all will come through. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Goodbye, Calbert. Okay, that's done, and I don't know that there's actually enough here to justify losing him. I think that was actually just a good play by TSH here.
Yeah, I like it too. We'll see how much of the base can be destroyed here, though, but you do have to be careful you don't get collapsed on by too many people here.
Yeah, Ashault still going to be a while because he's not built any CDR this game. Meanwhile, Jazz running it up the top lane.
Yeah, I like this. You can get a free tower, you get some gold, but okay, you do force a TP out of the brand, but you get a lot of prio, I think, over to this dragon. I think they need to try to quickly rotate if they want to get this soul, because you kind of have tempo on them right now. As you can see, they're kind of rotating toward their bottom jungle, knowing that the other team has to back to reset to get back here. Let's see how far they can push in to try to make some space for themselves for this fight.
Yeah, we're going to need the space. We've gotten to the point right now where the gold, especially given that so much of it, comes from top lane, probably about half of it right here, it's a little bit less important, and Ashe is obviously huge. And also, remember, a lot of that gold comes from Pyke, actually, who kind of duplicates that gold, but Pyke gold is not as valuable gold as it would be on another champion.
Yeah, for sure.
It just kind of is how it is. Yeah, so in this case, and by the way, Ashe, Speedy getting a little crap in chat for building that. I actually completely disagree. That item's still good as long as that you build the on-hit, because it provides a lot of defensive options. Crit is the higher DPS, but the fight is going to get started here. Clover being in that front line with the Shield of Duran, making sure that people can't get through the rest of the team.
A lot of damage, though.
Yeah, a lot of damage right here, and the ace in the hole is going to go down. Clover's going to go down first in the fight. Coach in the middle of the enemy team, a really large Lux ult 2 going to take it down. A huge Requiem that's going to be massive. Speedy going to go down. I'll take mid. Speedy wants I'll take mid at this point. Just going to poke him out, and yeah, they don't want to walk into this Pyke. That's going to be a 3-for-3. Kind of a bloodbath.
It was a bloodbath, and I actually thought that fight was going to go way worse for TSH, because off the leash, they controlled the space a lot better, and onto Music and Clover, they put a ton of damage down, and I actually thought once I saw the full commit go in, I thought Calbert was going to Woo! Oh my good lord.
That is a scary Lux.
It is a scary Lux, but like something too, like people always think a first strike is this a really annoying rune in the laning phase, because you get hit, you hear the ticking damage, and then the person gets plus 10 gold or whatever they did. It is a fun early game rune, but honestly the big power spike of it too is around that 20-minute mark, because you can cycle with these champions like Lux, you can cycle so much more damage in during that bonus phase where you can get gold. So even though he doesn't get the kill there, it's a 30-second cooldown, and he probably just gave himself 30-40 gold, and he can do that over and over again.
Yeah, so, it's already up. Yeah.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't get a kill, he just slowly builds gold up. Clover is a little caught out though.
Yeah, clearing waves by himself, that's a little bit of an overstep. You can't really be there. Obviously, Flash, pretty important on the Galio, but it's not going to be everything. TP is coming through. Lux will be here. Once again, the ult's up. Coach is in the middle of the team. Coach finds it. Huge. Galio's in on everybody. Coach is just burning onto 3-4 people right here. Going to be very important. Flash will come back out from Korean at the end. The Pyke is just eating today. Eating quite well. I'll take mid. finds the kill, a bunch of huge kills right there, and Kartha's gonna ult, but it's not gonna mean much at the end of the day. A little bit sustained. Nomad trying to stick in and see if he can find something, but yeah, this brand is just, the brand's troublesome, Kate's troublesome, obviously Mordekaiser's absolutely massive. And while I think the scaling option is there from TSH, if they don't get to that point in the game, it's not going to matter, and this Baron is the first step towards the game plan that obviously OTL wants to see.
That was close. That was a close steal attempt there.
That would have been.
Yeah, and at that dragon fight, it was really awkward for Speedy to get into that fight. It was kind of hard to see because there was so much going on with like all the AoE symbols with the Galio ult and then the brand circles popping up with his passive. But Speedy, I don't think, got more than 2 or 3 auto attacks and an ultimate off in that fight. There was just so much AoE going down, and then I think Calber was ulted someone in the Death Realm right where Speedy was standing, so I think he was too afraid to commit forward, not having his summoner spells to try to get some damage in. And you really saw the effects of that fight because it was kind of a wiped fight for the side of TSH. They all kind of just got slaughtered after that Dragon Steal.
Trundle's out of position here.
He's a little caught out too. Let's see if he sniffs this out.
He will, but there's a Pike and a Volley Bear behind him. Yeah, he's got nothing. I mean, I don't know, maybe take the fight, but he's just going to go down and kind of a whimper at this point. Yeah, there's just not much there for him. That's tough. I think you gotta be a little more aware than that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that's like the Trundle syndrome, probably coming in thinking, I have Hullbreaker, I have Triforce, I need a split push, I need to get some side lane pressure while they all group and try to push with their Baron. Unfortunately, he picked a lane that they all decided to collapse on, so it didn't really work out there. Let's see the base hold, though. There is a lot of wave clear, and it is hard for the side of Off the Leash to siege. Outside of Caitlyn, they don't have a great sieging comp, so that being said, the mid lane here is getting absolutely cracked open super quick, though. Those 6 grubs are going to add up pretty quick, though.
Yeah, they are gonna add up very much. And yeah, I like this. This aggression is really important. Off the Leash, knowing what they have to do to end this game, knowing that the Karthus is going to be very, very scary, and knowing that they do have the advantage right now. And while control is huge, Ashe doesn't have much ability to get into the fight, and that means there's not a lot doing for it. So OTL here just going across 3 different lanes, and no one knows what to do. There's no one to go in on. There's no play to be made. They're just kind of get taken down slowly. And so the hope right here is that if you are TSH, you got to make a play, and you got to do something in the middle of this. Caridian right here beating this down. The ult will be there. The cleanse is going to be hit. Unfortunately, there's no CDR, so it's going to be a while till it's up. Taunt going to go, and they're actually just going to be able to one-shot the Pike. If there is a fight, this is the option right here. The ult going to go down. Calbert is in the Death Realm with somebody. I ain't know who it is, but it is somebody. Galio going to go down. Coach going to go down. He's in the middle of the fight, and the ult's going to have to be rear. Requiem here, I'll take mid on this side, is going to hit hard, really, really hard with this Requiem. He's actually going to get taken down by control at this point, or I guess Coach is going to get the burn. Caridian takes a whole lot of damage, and it looks good, but it might be a little, too late at this point. Caridian was almost just getting caught doing pasta time. He's going to get out. Speedy Bandito flashes forward.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you know, I like the idea. I'm not going to blame him for that. Unfortunately, I think he might have canceled an auto. I like the idea, but yeah, right here, Little Chuck getting gone on Jazz, trying to show that maybe he's not as weak as we thought he is. Little Chuck, meanwhile, just walking out. Gonna find the kill here. Caridian is in the middle, sandwich between both Control and Jazz. Lots of damage going to be on Control, not able to find the damage right here. Light Binding is going to miss. Caridian doing so much. The pole able to come through one last little bit, but people are spawning one by one. This is like whack-a-mole watching these guys try to take this off the leash, doing their best. Caridian doing everything to stay into this fight. Has certainly the health. Calbert just says, you know what, I'm done with this game. I want to go end this thing. Taunt comes in from Clover. Is it going to be enough? It looks like not. And that, folks, is finally going to be the end of this game.
Yeah, what a scrappy game, but Off the Leash just absolutely... Again, it kind of shows... It felt kind of close because there was good scaling from TSH and they made some good fights back and forth, but it kind of just goes to how we were talking in the beginning, how these teams like to play. They're both super scrappy. They don't necessarily have like macro set plays, but they fight and they fight and they constantly put pressure on different points of the map, just getting in your face. And there was just some huge performances coming out from the side of Off the Leash. Calbert, even though he got a couple shutdowns put on against him, that was at the cost of sending so many people.
All right, folks. Sorry about that. Yeah, stream It's the thing that's been happening. All the producers know. Sometimes Streamlabs break when you try to transition the stream. It just like shuts off. So yeah, sorry about that. We are back, but yeah, this is sort of what we expected here. The Karthus did so much damage, and yeah, on one hand, you can look at that and say, well, obviously, he carried the game, and he did. He obviously played a really good game, did what Karthus has to do. The problem is obviously the whole early game you have to spend farming, not making aggressive plays, that type of thing to get there. So there's pluses and minuses. I really like the pick, and frankly, I think it should have won, but there were enough misplays in some of those fights where they weren't able to put it together. So analysis can go both ways. I think both teams are playing great, and this is going to be a great series to cap us off. But folks, we're going to go to a quick break right here and hope that Streamlabs doesn't commit Sudoku at this point, as it just did. So hang with us here. We're going to break, and we will see you in just 4 minutes. Later. All right, folks, we are back, baby. We are here after a really, really fun game one of TSH versus OTL. Really enjoyed what we saw. Coach on the Karthus putting a great performance on. Lux looking amazing, but they weren't able to put it together. I think there was a bit of a team comp difference, and ultimately the carries got dove on successfully, and sometimes that's how you win and you lose games here. So we're going into game two. OTL has the advantage. Still waiting here to see what's happening with Pro Draft, but while we do that, let's analyze that first game. So Mr. Sandy, who's with me, what did you think?
I said it from the beginning. I thought Trundle would be a bait pick. I just didn't think it would be Music. I thought it would be a bait pick if Jungle picked it. The Trundle just did not feel great in that draft. It's really hard for him to run into those champs. There's no one who he can ult effectively to get enough tank stats to get in there and do damage. Sadly, they lost all 6 grubs, so like a massive split push threat is like kind of removed from Trundle's potential. And then there's a couple good ganks that Chuck had that killed Music once or twice, and then Calbert with the small edge that was given to him just absolutely ran away with the game. He died a few times in the side lanes, but he drew an incredible amount of pressure toward him, and it required TSH to put a lot of resources into him. He could always death realm whoever he wanted, and he was basically always going to win it. Yeah, the Trundle just felt hard to play. It kind of felt like Music was kind of hamstrung there because the champ just didn't offer as much. There were still some good performances. He had a couple good team fights, but I think that was something lacking. Was just the Trundle pick, and I just don't think the early game played out the way they wanted. Maybe the Trundle was never supposed to be the ulting, the tank, and team fighting Trundle. They probably just wanted him to side lane the whole time. It just never shaped out that way, sadly.
No, it didn't, and it's kind of like what we talked about, right? It's from the beginning of this, when you are talking about your pick and your ban, you just can't put these like simple ways of saying it where you're like, this is the champ that I play it well, and I need to have it. It's like, well, that didn't really work out this time, did it? Right? Like you just have to put a little bit more thought into it right here. And unfortunately with what it was picked into, yeah, that's going to be tough. That's going to look very, very tough. So we actually are going to get a, okay. I'm going to get us a, I am going to get us a pro view. So Mr. Hippo set this up. If you're looking for weird shit on my tabs, you're not going to find it. So right here, the Zac, the Diana, and the Amumu were banned right here by TSH. Off the leash bans the Hui, the LeBlanc, and the Nocturne. Certainly think this is good. And the Nico going to be picked. We like to see that Nico. He is so disgusting on that champ. I don't think I will literally ever let him play that champ against me again. And I'd rather play against Echo.
Yeah, he is so scary on it because he is equally good at engaging and putting a lot of pressure, which Nico can do. But he's creative enough that he makes unexpected big plays, which is like a huge part of Nico's kit. You have to find good flanks. You have to be creative with your pathing and what you use your passive on, and he does it really well. I think most of us mid laners have fell victim to how he plays the Nico.
Yeah, it's incredibly scary because he like, and he's silly. He knows how to do, and I know this is like so stupid to say, but like when he sends the Nico at you and like
Mm.
starts going B, or he sends the Nico at you and he like does the dance and the Nico does the dance too, like that's so annoying. It's so, and like it will get in your head where he will just keep doing it and he does not care, and like
Yeah,
that type of BM is literally a part of the champion. You know what I mean? Like they took all the
right.
BM things people do and they're like, well, it's part of a champion now, so do it, and that's like a real strategy.
Yeah, it really is. And like I like how you said it gets in your head because he does it 10 times in a
God,
row and you kind of get comfortable thinking he's just being annoying again. But then on that 10th or 11th time,
it's got to be
it's a
him.
real
Yeah.
thing and he hits like a 5-man pop blossom. So,
He
yeah, no,
does.
I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a scary pick.
It happens all the time, and he knows how to set up those. The Nico, the route that she throws through actually increases in duration if it hits other units first, and so like he also knows how to do it where he's going to hit it through free minions, like the way he paths towards you. So like, scary. I mean, the dude, again, he's an insane mid laner, and he plays to beat the crap out of you, and that's like his way of playing the game.
Yep.
I felt like if he smoked less Mary Jane, and maybe like had a few more brain cells, he would be probably like a challenger player. He's he's got a lot for sure. I mean, he's scary, right? He's definitely always the one that I'm most scared of, and you probably feel the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree to that. And I said it last game too. He has picked a couple champs this season that don't really fit his typical champ pool that he's known for. Like the Corki, he picked Brand like 2 or 3 times now, and he's performed well on all of them, which I think it speaks highly of him. And it's kind of a scary look because if he's only picking Echo, Diana, Silas, there's definitely champs and strategies that are doable to counter around them. But then all of a sudden, if those get banned, or he's not even picking them when they're up, and he's got like 2 or 3 other champs he's equally comfortable on, yeah, it gets really scary to play against him, like even more. So, um, but yeah, if Nico's going to be the pick, he's going to take this game. It's a comfort one. It's something he's always performed well on, especially ever since its rework. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I played against him day of rework, basically. Like it just came out a day or two and we had a TCL game, and you messaged me and said, hey, Nico just got reworked, I'll take mid plays Nico, are you okay if he plays it? And I was like, yeah, I don't care, whatever, it's not changed that much. I'm pretty sure I was the first mid laner to
He's the
fall
first victim. Yeah, because
I think
none of us realized how different it was. It's
yeah,
like
it sounded stupid when you read the patch notes. You're like, okay, she could turn into a plant, big whoop. But for some reason, the whole champion was just like, okay, she can turn into a plant, but she also does 10 times the amount of damage, so that's fun. But
she
yeah,
could she turn into the fruits,
like
like the fruit stock?
the stalk, yeah, not the ones on the ground, if that's what you meant. But yeah, she can turn into the
Yeah, so she could just
here.
become a stalk and like.
Yep.
It,
Blast cone too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I fell victim to it the first time around, so. Um, I think. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the pro draft. Did they ban Hui? I guess I'll be able to find out
Hui
now.
was banned right at the beginning of it. Yes.
That's smart because I think Control. I have put a ton of Hui games not only on my main account, but also on a side account. One account was Master, one was like Mid Diamond, and I played a lot of him. And I think Control plays this champ actually really well. Even in games he's lost, I think he's highly effective in it, and that's a really good pick into Nico. It's super good. It is really actually hard for Nico to lane. And Nico's one of those champs that feels like really lane oppressive too. Not only can she get these huge team
Like
fights,
surprisingly so. Yeah. That's kind
yes,
of right. That's kind of what I was saying. It is shockingly at
yes.
that point. Yes. Yeah. No.
But Hui is really good into Nico. It's a really good favored matchup, at least in my experience. I imagine other people would agree. So it has been a consistent ban against Control since he's busted it out in the early season, but it's really good to stick with it here too. Ornn, I was going to say this too. I wish Ornn was the pick that they picked last time. It's not great into Mordekaiser, but it would have offered them so much more in the game that they ended up playing. Oh my gosh.
So
All right.
Coach likes the trundle for himself.
Sure. Which is weird because I don't know the order of what pro draft went. So I don't know what point it was picked.
He picked
Hopefully
it
they
B4. He picked it B4. They waited They picked their jungler and their ADC B4, B5. They picked top lane and mid lane.
Okay.
Presumably to get the champions, and I really like Music X on Ornn. It's a champ that he's Music. I still call him that. Jazz. It's a champ he's probably known best for. I think like some of his best solo kills have come on Ornn. And the thing about Ornn that like no one realizes is that no one can like solo kill that champion. Like Ornn is actually one of the most broken champs in the game for people who know how to play him well. And people don't think that, but like he is. He's oppressive. He wins the early game.
Ooh.
He's like the tankiest champion in the game. I didn't even see the Poppy. I knew I kind of glazed over it, but yeah, that's a Poppy support there from
It's a Poppy
Nomad.
support, but I think it is is it a Silas or Trundle jungle?
That's a Trundle jungle.
Where's the Silas going? Am I crazy?
No, it's a Silas support.
Okay.
That
right,
I didn't even put two and two together when I showed that. That is a Silas support. Yeah, Clover, for those of you know, is a mid lane main. He's known for playing a little Victor support. He's known for I mean Silas support seems like he's trying to throw this game so that he can go to bed. But still, I mean, you know, wow, that's wild.
I was so confused for a second. I was thinking maybe Trundle was gonna go support, which I don't necessarily love or hate that idea. So I was thinking maybe they would throw the Silas in there. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could ult Poppy because she is kind of tanky-ish. Some champs on their team build a little bit of resistance, but I feel like we're in the Trundle bait again.
Well, he likes
we'll
it.
See.
He likes it, and certainly he plays it a little bit differently.
Yeah, he plays the fast-paced, throw the pillar down, run into lane, kind of high-pressure gank, and if I remember, he really took a lot of neutral objectives fast with it. Let's see if it's enough, I guess, to get the lead. I guess in my head, that's how I would think of him playing it out. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I like it, and yeah, certainly again what the Poppy wants to do, and we're gonna have to see what rune choice Poppy takes. If it is gonna be the Aftershock, which I'd say is probably a 95% chance. Obviously, once again, that can be good for the Trundle, and it's going to provide something that was not provided in the last game, which is someone with some reasonable amount of resistances that's going to power up the Trundle. You know, and again, it's just a different way of playing the game, right? Like when you put Jazz on Trundle, you're sticking him in the side lane, and you're saying like, I never want to see you here, right? Because I want you to be killing enemy towers. Jungle Trundle is not really played the same way. It's not at all how that works. Do you? Here's a question: Jungle Trundle, does he max E second, or does he keep the usual skill order?
I don't know. That's a good question. I actually don't play enough Trundle or to know what the skill order would be. I guess look it up. I don't know.
Yeah, he said they nerfed Emax. So Mr. Walt telling us that unlikely they nerfed Emax. Obviously, W is a very strong skill, so that is to be expected. I do remember when. Remember when Trundle support was huge?
Yeah.
And you'd Emax like literally first. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was a little nutty.
I also saw a Reddit thread that made me feel very old. It was
I hate these.
Dude, I know. Well, someone said like, guys, do you remember when Karthus was a bot laner? And I was like. I was like, bro, you kids don't even know. Well,
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, you kids don't even know that Karthus was a mid laner for the entirety of his existence.
Where you were going.
Yeah. Like they're like, remember the old days when Karthus was a bot laner? I'm like, bro, you kids, you don't know anything.
Yeah. I played him mid lane. Like, it was one of my main champions I played mid lane for like a good year, dude. And then, he evolved into a bot laner, then he went obsolete, and now he's like a hardcore jungler. Yeah, it's horrible to think about. It makes me feel so old.
Think about other champs that have done that. Nautilus is a big one, and Nautilus originally was released to be a jungler, but obviously what people kind of forget about was that he was one of the premium top laners for a very long time.
Yeah, he was.
No one thinks that, but he was one of the premium top laners. This was back when you, I believe you would take Smite. I believe you would take Smite top lane, and you would build whatever the tank item was. And this was right when the monsters got, like, the jungle got reworked. It was like season 5, I think, when smiting the camps. It was when the Gromp first came out, and smiting Gromp gave you like a thornmail buff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there'd be these like crazy clips of, like, a Nautilus walking in with like 3 items, and it was like the classic Sunfire, Iceborne Gauntlet, Spirit Visage. And like if you guys didn't play during then, that stuff was, you could send any champion top lane, it did not matter. You build those 3 items.
Yep.
And like Tank Echo top was like one of the top champions in the game.
That was all. Fizz Echo Tank top was an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
That was like, for me, that was like one of my worst nightmares. It was probably one of my worst eras of League, because I don't know, it just felt so hard to deal with because they did so much damage. They had so much cooldown reductions and survivability. It was rough.
Yeah, that was certainly one of the eras of League.
Yeah.
Not enjoyable under any capacity. And Chuck going, taking a little damage, just powering up controls for strike here. Yeah, that was an era of League. And then there's like the weird times of like the class updates, like when Mordekaiser had his first update that let him control the dragon.
Right.
And he became a bot laner.
Yep. That was weird too, because you just threw your ult, kind of consumed the dragon's soul or whatever with his ult, and then you would send the dragon mid. It was pretty uninteractive. I think Urgot at that time also was a. It might have been before. I think Urgot was still a bot lane champion at that point. Maybe not. Maybe he got gutted after.
No,
or right
I think
before
you're right,
too.
but Urgot was also for a little while.
Carry.
He was, but also you would take him mid as like a Zed counter.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you do that. By the way, right here, Trundle, coach, look at this steal. Wait, this is going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. So Chuck's going to walk in.
He didn't pull the thing in though.
Yeah, he didn't pull it in. The smite's going to go. Okay, coach, let's get the smite. That's going to be huge. Little Chuck going to get run down. Flash is going to be there. Boy, that's an interesting one for coach, because if that smite doesn't go the way he wants it to, his game is in a really tough spot at that point. Coach coming up, Calibert not realizing that somehow the communication was missed right there. Lots of damage going to come down.
Oh no!
A little more. Wait, coach just sticking it.
Uh-oh. Oh no!
Oh no!
No!
It's even worse than it's Calibert and coach.
Oh.
It's even worse. Coach, stay off Discord after this one.
The mental edge. It's
Calibert,
the worst person to give it to. He's already typing up his thesis and his paragraphs.
Cal loves bullying coach. And it's Cal. He's a terrible person, so he's probably really serious about it.
Oh no.
Oof.
It was such a beautiful early game start too from Coach. You wish he just would have stopped when Calibert had to flash, because he would have just given the jungle and the top laner, so much of a disadvantage having flashes down.
Well, it's just a tilt play, because you're gonna put him behind, but he does have teleport. So like, what's the best case scenario? Like, your Ornn doesn't have a kill, the Mord does have a kill, you've traded it, you've gotten yourself ahead, but at the expense of one of your lanes. And right here, Nomad going in, finding Clover right here. Little Chuck is still in the zone. Great peel, keeping him off. And I don't know if we're going to say the Silas ever going to be justified here, but right now, coach getting hit by the binding from Altec mid. And oh my god, what is even happening right here? Flash doesn't come through. Speedy does find the Ren, but the counter will come. There's now 3 people bot.
Oh no.
I can't even keep up with this.
There's just it's not even 4 minutes into the game, and we're just having so many people dogpile onto each other all over the map. Again, it kind of comes down to both these teams are super scrappy. The set plays are what they are. It's team deathmatch all across the map with constant pressure. And again, it just feels like Off the Leash is just a little bit better at that style.
They are. Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's the problem, is that if you play against Altibate, it's hard, right? He's a amazing player, and you should not sleep on the other people. So I'm not saying it's like, oh, easy. The only advice I would say is that if you're coming up with a game plan, it has to include not playing the thing that off the leash is just going to be better at than you.
Yep.
You know, like you're never going to beat I'll Take Mid's team in team deathmatch right here. Caridian on the roam from bot lane. What is he even doing here? He's showing up right here. Coach getting gone on, but Ornn finding a big pillar. But I don't know that it's going to be enough because there's no damage behind it, right? There's nobody there. So while I respect it, I'll Take Mid goes over the wall. A little bit of damage. Probably not going to be enough.
Ooh, close.
Yeah. So now, meanwhile, the only problem here is that Caridian, and frankly, I don't even know how he ended up there. But he is now down 15 CS, and he's about to lose this entire wave. So I don't know.
I like when bot side of the map. I like when you send someone to roam up. I prefer it when it's
yeah. Yes.
Maybe Caridian has had an idea.
Clover wants to go on this, but he's gonna miss the upstand from the change right here. Speedy Bandito trying to do a lot of damage, but he's in the middle of everybody. What is going on? Oh no, guys. Okay, actually Speedy does a ton of damage, but it's just not gonna be enough right there.
So close.
Oh man. Oh. Alright, well.
This felt like something they had planned and cooked up bot lane, but it's not going the way they thought. They are 1-4 now, and I think this is a kill lane that you had to get ahead early to make it effective. Like, I feel like the point of effectiveness is kind of gone now. And what stinks is if you're TSH, the map was in a really bad spot for you, but if you don't give up a couple more of those kills, you had mentioned it, Caridian basically drops a massive wave because he roams up.
Yeah, Caridian stays too long. He is absolutely going to go down here.
You have to give this to Speedy.
Yeah, Clover takes it. I don't know. We just got a gank in the mid lane while we're looking at this. Will be the return at this point, so good job getting a little something. And yeah, that's that root. After you use the W, it's really scary. Chuck in on it. Nomad finding a fantastic angle to go stun control against the wall. Great job.
And they do a great job of securing it on the player they wanted. I'll Take Mid is able to get the last hit, and now he's sitting at 2-0, which I kind of want to say this too, like you had mentioned, Caridian was going to drop a massive wave to the tower. Clover could have just, kind of zoned him off a little bit, denied that XP in the farm. And also, if you're Control, you're looking around the map and you're like, guys, we don't have to force all of this, because before Control got killed there, he had like a 15 CS lead, and he actually was threatening a plate there. He actually had a pretty big lead over I'll Take Mid, so as the mid laner, you're like, guys, calm it down a little bit, we don't need to force anything. The kills look like not great on the scoreboard, but we don't need to keep forcing something to necessarily make our way back in. So they did get a shutdown onto the Jinx, which is good. Unfortunately, it did go to the Sylas. Let's see if the Sylas can cook, though. They do.
Coach looking for it right here. Not going to be able to stop the dash. It's not going to matter. It's going to be missed, but tons of damage. Coach doing so much on that, and yeah, that's pretty crucial.
Yeah, it's huge, and you keep making these plays, and I guess, again, like we said it before, Coach is just like a high-tempo, early-game jungler. He puts so much pressure on the map. He's constantly ganking, and the beginning of this game started fantastically for him. I loved that red buff sneak, and he had the balls to stand in front of that and just say, hey, I'm going to outsmite you, I'm going to run you down. Because if he doesn't get that smite there, one, he's going to get run down, but two, he's so far behind in the rest of the map. So
Chuck could go. Yep, look for the ult right here. It is going to stop the turret, just barely in range for that. Good job from Chuck. Just very smooth play here from OTL.
Yep, and this is feeling slightly reminiscent of last match, where you have a 2-0 Calbert, who's in a pretty easy matchup for Mordekaiser. You feel like this is getting a little scary. You're gonna have a little deja vu. He's just gonna be able to
I feel terrible for Jazz. I feel terrible for Jazz. He didn't deserve that. Oh, Control. No. They're looking for a play. Caridian a little bit pushed forward, and it is gonna be just a ton of damage. Yeah, I mean, it's a support Sylas who's probably gonna build AP. So who knows? Maybe him taking kills isn't the worst thing in the world.
And I guess I keep forgetting that he is a mid lane main, so if you do get enough gold and AP on him, maybe he's like, hey, quit putting me on some of these Galio-esque tanks. I kind of want to get in there and scrap and show that I can do some damage too, so...
And I don't mind, I mean, when you try something new on an elimination game, right here, can't get to come through. Coach is here yet one more time. They're going to keep going for it, but Speedy Bandito going to take so much from the Pop Blossom here from I'll Take Mid. I'll Take Mid will go down at the very end. Coach has come bot like 5 times in a row.
Yep.
I actually have I think he is playing this perfectly.
I agree.
He just says gank, gank, gank. Do the one thing that's going to be able to bring pressure here. and it is getting this lead back in their favor. So yeah, I think Coach doing exactly what he needs to.
Yeah, besides just unfortunately running down Calvert and kind of giving that first blood over to him, besides that, he's had an early game start. He's put a ton of pressure on the map. This is almost a 3,000 gold lead if I remember correctly for a little bit. It was getting close to it. And basically it's just 1,000 out because Coach just put so much pressure on the spot side, which looked like an absolute disaster.
Clover does, he does an amount of damage right here. Oh, unfortunately, it's going to be Coach caught out in, I think, a bit of a miscommunication on where he thought the rest of his team was going to be.
And we just jinxed him. We just get done praising him, and unfortunately, he gets collapsed.
Trust me, he got jinxed.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Nice. Dad joke. But, yeah. It's still in a playable state for the side of TSH. Hopefully they can withstand some of the pressure and the scrappiness that OTL keeps putting out. You do feel bad for Music on the top side, because last time it just felt like he was losing to Mordekaiser and then he got ganked. Now it's just like he starts the lane completely behind the Mordekaiser when he didn't have to. It didn't have to be that way. So you do feel bad for Jazz here.
Well, and the thing we've always done in TCL is that the better players we are going to be more honest about, and that was just a bad play from Coach. He you can't blame Music. Music is doing all he can, and I think he will continue to. And I guess the only thing I'll say is thank God he's on Ornn, because even in that game state, he's gonna find a way to be useful. It's something he knows how to play the champ, and certainly gonna be good. But yeah, just a tough look to that early game. But as we said, gotta have a short memory. You can't dwell on it. The fact is, it happened. Now it's what's the best move on the board right now, and I do think Coach has come to understand that. So we'll see. But yeah, Chuck with his patented going on the grubs here real early, doing a fantastic job on the objectives.
Yep. And again, I don't think OTL has a crazy split pusher that just is terrifying with grubs. If it shapes out how it was last game, where Calvert just literally becomes a walking raid boss, I mean, he'll take those grubs all day because it just becomes such a bigger threat in the side lane. And Ornn can slow the push, but he's never going to absolutely stop a completely fed Mordekaiser under tower. Ornn is really looking just to slow the push and hopefully group up eventually. Look bot here. Clover is trying to collapse
with a lot of damage. Oh my god. Yeah, that was a beautiful pillar right there from Trundle. Completely stopping the Poppy. And for those of you that don't know, the pillar, if it's right on it, you will get knocked up by it. And that's what happened. He got knocked up back into the team. Great play here.
Yeah, this is good. Good collapse down. This bot lane is just getting so much pressure for the side of TSH there. And they're threatening a second dragon as well. Two good early dragons too. You like seeing it. Good job from Coach for just keeping this early game pressure up.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Yeah, in the top lane. But again, as we said, poor Jazz. It is no fun to be in his position. I think he's doing the best that he can. He will have TP, so if he has to go down and TP back, he'll have the opportunity to. Obviously, drag has already been taken, so he doesn't have to actually worry about missing out on something here. The Silas, interesting, and it sort of tells me a couple things. Well, first thing it tells me is Coach is getting gone on right here. Lil Chuck doing a ton of damage. The ult will come through. Pop Blossom is up. 2 going to get hit by it right here. Control trying to get onto the back line, but there's no one to actually do enough damage to now. Somehow he's caught out. Coach is somehow still alive. Control's going to die for the sins of his teammate. Calvert going to flash over the wall. Find Jazz at this point. 2 will go down for that. 2 for 0. And yeah, that's the thing with OTL is, again, you get caught up in that jungle. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, and he kills Chuck?
Wait.
He flashes over the thick part of the wall there and actually just walks out of that. I was watching that in the mini-map this whole time. He flashed over the thick part of the wall, just walked back through mid.
Oh my god.
Oh!
Oh my god. Control, wow. Well, okay. Now we're going to see what happens here. Caridian knows where he's at. Control trying to get stranded. Look at Control way deep in enemy lines trying to find Caridian. I think he's actually going to find him.
Oh my lord. Oh. He just did he was at his blue buff fighting and he gets...
Gromp, I can't believe he just got disrespected by Gromp. Wait, were the minions? Oh, I thought the minions would have vision. They didn't. Wow.
That was amazing. That was such an amazing sequence of events. There's
Clover looking like a mid
Clover over
laner,
here.
trying to do a ton of damage.
He is doing a ton of damage though. I'll take mid having to get out of dodge there.
Oh, little Chuck, the cooldowns are down, trying to go for it. The abscond just comes up in enough time, able to get out of it. That is what it's called, right? Abscond.
I actually have no idea, and I played a ton of Silas, but I
think it's
nothing
abscond
close to that.
absend.
I hope you just make that up. Okay.
It's like abscond absend or something. It's which I don't know what either of those words are, so I don't know why they used it. But yeah, Control looking wild on that, finding 2 random kills that he had no business taking.
No, he literally flashed over that thick part of that wall toward the other team's like side of the mid lane with like, I don't know, 50 HP. It does a cross map journey and somehow picks up 2 kills and lives. It was ridiculous, but good job from Control. But we got to also give praise, obviously, to Off the Leash for forcing a huge fight. They definitely were the victors overall for that, maintaining their goal lead. Secured the Herald. They got 6 grubs again. So top side of the map is definitely in their favor.
Chuck could smite there. Drops in, drops the smite.
Steal.
Yeah. So are we? I don't know. At one point, are we going to be able to say that Silas was justified? But not the worst thing I've ever seen, I must say. And he's maxing the Q on it, which I find to be really interesting. Nomad flash forward, able to take the poppy push, but Speedy right here able to actually pull him back into him. And Speedy, oh, the double's going to hit the root. The CC will last forever. That's a huge play. Ball take mid. Control able to get 1 back, which is going to be really crucial to keeping this game not necessarily in a within a reachable state, but that's the Nico. Same thing as always. It's a terrifying champion.
Yep, it's terrifying, and he just plays it so well. He knows the angles to get on everything. Chuck sitting in mid lane, getting a massive amount of pressure onto this turret. That's gonna fall. I don't think Calbert gives a crap about what the Zoran has to say. I think he's just gonna let this wave crash, let it do some work to this tower, and the top side of this map is just absolutely blown up. And yes, the Silas obviously has had a huge turnaround from this early game. He's doing a ton of damage. He's making plays.
Oh,
but is
Control
it
getting
enough?
caught. Same thing with I'll take mid here. A lot of damage on it, and he gets. Wow, okay, gets some damage back in the stun on it. Caridian trying to kite this out. Coach right here with his ult burning down. A little bit more damage. Caridian able to get the damage. Chuck will eventually find it, and Clover doesn't show up fast enough to be able to get any kind of move onto Caridian.
It's so weird because people are just in spots that you don't necessarily expect, because people are just constantly looking for fights. They're not looking to necessarily rotate around the map. They're just looking, how do we get in their face constantly?
Where's the enemy and how do I kill them? Right, that's it.
Yeah.
That is
every single game has had like 20 kills by like 10 or 15 minutes, and this one is it's showing that again. It's just like they are constantly in each other's face. And it makes it hard. It's like, what waves do you step up to and what don't you step up to? And it's easy for us to look at spectators and be like, why is he there? But it's a totally different thing when you're sitting in there and you're like, I have to at least get some farm. I have to try to push out this wave. I need to try to threaten some turret or get ready for this objective. But
well, there's a certain assumption you get to make as a League player, which is like, okay, both myself and the enemy are incentivized to optimize what we're doing. And the thing is optimization includes where you're going to be. You're going to be in a side lane. You're going to be taking the farm. You're going to be looking to scale up. And the thing is that's not how I'll take mid and his team plays the game. They don't optimize. And if you always knew where they were, you would win because you would know not to show up there. But you don't, right? They play around it all creatively. And they put their enemies in positions where they're likely to make mistakes. And there's something to be said about that, right? That's a great way to play the game.
Yep. Dragon secured from the side of OTL.
Speedy.
It's really nice that TSH was able to secure the first 2 dragons, because the stacking of these Chemtech dragons it's not that scary if they stack 2 or 3 of them. But it buys you a lot of time toward that soul since you had the first 2, so you are behind a considerable amount of gold. Team fights seem to be going in the favor of OTL, so you can give up some of the neutral objectives from here on out as long as it's not Baron.
Calbert gets going on, but a huge poppy ult taking 2 out, and Clover is who he chose. He's going to do so much damage. Clover eventually going to go down right here. Caridian doing a ton of DPS onto this, and unfortunately the rest of the team wasn't able to help, but the pop blossom in the background, I think he was a minion. They didn't even see him until they were already dead.
Oh no.
And meanwhile, unfortunately, Control went top lane at the start, did not have TP up fast enough, and watches his whole team die in front of his eyes.
Yep, and it's just an absolute slaughter. They commit to the 5v4, which turns into a 2v5 because Poppy's taking so many crucial people out of the map there.
Yeah.
The gold is just ballooning out of control, and even though they look scrappy in the beginning, it doesn't look like TSH is going to have enough of the tank to withstand this now. Their base is going to get cracked sub 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's getting cracked, and unfortunately right here, like, again, oh, well, okay, well, the fight's going to come down right here. Oh, a massive knock-up right there from Jazz. We'd love to see that.
Oh, nice.
Clover trying to get in on it. Speedy can't really get close enough to do any DPS. It's going to be a bit of a problem in this fight right here. Clover trying to do what he can. Pop Blossom will be taken, but the rocket comes out. A heal happens right before it goes. A little bit of CC right there. Coach is in on it, but... Oh, Pop Awesome hits 4 people!
Oh, no.
A massive Pop Awesome from I'll Take Mid, and they're going to clean up the entire team. Control's going to go down in the backline right here. Maybe not quite. Clover is in on a few people. Pop Awesome will come back. Won't be quite enough. Gradian still in the backline, firing away. Little Chuck making sure the Control can't even walk out of base. They're going to take the inhibitor. How far are they going to want to go with this? Are they going to have enough juice here? They're going to make the decision to leave at this point, and the wave is not pushed in, so it looks like they're just not going to be able to get anything out of that.
No, and it's just a gold diff. There's a couple of moments where I actually felt like TSH might be able to get a couple shutdowns back and swing a couple gold coins back in their pocket, but they just did not have the items or the gold or the levels to match OTL's power there, and the skirmishes are just in the favor of OTL. They just seem to be a little bit better at scrapping. It's an I'll Take Mid's team staple classic. Chuck is a little caught.
Yeah, a little far forward and shutdown on the Control. Not the person you want to get that shutdown onto. Good.
I wonder if they try to force Baron here.
Yeah, you force Baron here. You do it every single time. It's a fight. Like, you are slowly bleeding. The enemy team is playing better than you. You start the Baron, and you accept the fact that you might throw it. That happens.
Orange just needs to TP it now.
Well, would you rather win fast or win slow? Yes, Orange does need to TP. The TP's up, and he's not taking it. I don't understand why.
He needs in here bad.
He's looking for a ward, maybe? Oh, wait, he just...
Oh, big Pop Blossom.
No. Orange... Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, no. Orange thought he TP'd. I think Orange thought he TP'd, and he didn't, because, look, he's standing still, not doing anything, and he's going to call the Forge God right here. Big Pop Awesome. Oh, no. I'm so... sorry, Jazz. Yeah, that one just feels bad. I've done that before where you thought you hit TP on something.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't go through, and yeah, that's tough.
Or you think you're backing, you don't actually hit B, and then all of a sudden you look up and your team's completely reset. It happens.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It's rough. It's rough. They really needed him there, and I'll Take Mid just has an absolute massive Pop Blossom when they're trying to force down that objective, but...
Yeah, you are right, though. Like, just... That's one of those ones, go sooner than later. You know that's the win con, and I think you need someone on Control's team to just call it and say, listen, like, people like losing slow because they think, oh, if I lose slow, I'll just have more chances, but it's like, the difference is actually that lead's going to get worse and worse. If you're given an opportunity like that, you go for the Baron, you TP everyone in, and you go for it. And if you lose, you lose. Like, that's League, and people like trying to avoid losing more than they like winning.
Sure.
And unfortunately, I think that's kind of what we saw right there. But is what it is. And yeah, they're going to have to play the rest of this game out and just say, listen, it's time to be an NFL quarterback, right? Like, remove that from your memory. It happened. On to the next thing.
Yeah, and like you said, like, people who don't want to...
This is the mind games from both players.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, I like that from Control. He's kind of playing a little slower, kind of getting in the head. I'll Take Mid. But like you said about people who don't want to, like, necessarily pull maybe the trigger and try to lose fast or lose slow, that speaks really true against I'll Take Mid's team, because I think he is probably the best player at punishing people who are bad or indecisive.
Yes.
He eats that stuff up. So if you're not going to try to contest or fight him back, he's going to absolutely gobble you up from that.
And you got to find that careful thing, because the pure fighting, that's what they're good at. But fighting around objectives and taking the right fights, that's not necessarily what they're good at. So it's not that fighting him's bad. It's just playing that game of, hey, a random skirmish in the middle of my jungle that means nothing? Yeah, I'll take this. That's what he likes, right?
Yeah.
If you make the right moves, you track it, you build the right vision, you don't get caught out. That's how you beat those guys, is you just play a nice, smart game of League of Legends. So it's certainly possible. That being said, it doesn't look like it's going to be possible this game. They're 2 inhibitors down. Third one is getting gone on. Both carries are up there, taking it right there. And unfortunately, the rest of here, yeah, Control and Crew just has to be clearing waves. And unfortunately, Control is the only one able to do that. Controlling looks like he's going back to get an item here. Not sure what that was, but it is something, and this is looking like a potential of an end of the game. The Ornhorn will come down. It's not going to go on to anybody. They've all dodged it properly right here. They're going to keep going for the wave clear. They're going to need to. Some damage onto Calvert at this point. Clone does go down. Love the clone at this point. And yeah, your only victory opportunity right here is to continue wave clearing. The siege is not big enough, so this is not one of those situations where you have to run out from under turret until it's time. But I'll take mid, gets 2 people, only 2 people, is not going to be quite enough right here. This actually might be the opportunity for TSH. They went a little bit too far right here. Caridian is going to get it going down on the back line. It's just Nomad at this point. That was an absolutely huge counterplay right there, playing amazingly around the Nico ult right there. And the team kills the back line, and they will live another day, but their whole base is destroyed. So what are we going to see happen from here?
Yeah, it stinks too, because there's nothing on the map you can take, and your base is absolutely in shambles. So it's hard to push out. The only realistic objective I think you could maybe try to push for is try to get the outer turret in mid lane, but I don't know if they're even able to do that. It is a little bit of an over engage, but I'll take mid. You do get your team aced, and there are some shutdowns that go over, but I think the damage is done. I think you take that. Their whole base is exposed at 25 minutes. You can stack every neutral objective from here on out. You can just walk to try to end again. It's a good hold from TSH, but man, it's rough.
Speedy looking like a wit's end coming here. I think that's going to be really strong for him. Right,
true.
We're not seeing any substantial armor pen right here from the Nico. Obviously, Mordekaiser has some built in, but if you're going to get caught as Mordekaiser, you're probably in a bad shape anyway at that point. But again, I mean, listen, if there was going to be an option, this is it. They have made the play under their tower, under the very last line of defense here, and whatever the heck their name is. I told you, my brain off the leash. Thank you. Brain is just dead today. They just know that their win con here is just to get all of the waves into the base. That's all you have to do. You have to make sure they're all stacking up at the same time, and you have to use that to go and try to take the fights while everyone is focused clearing waves. That's the way you have to play this. They're doing the right thing, and they're not being overly aggressive. There's no reason to push too far right here. Caridian getting a little far forward. He is going to get stunned at that point. A lot of damage onto him, and yeah, he was way too far forward. Right here, Calbert onto the Silas right here, who's going to get popped right here at the start of it, and there's just too much damage. TSH with not too much, but if anyone is going to have to die, it's going to have to be Caridian, but they're just going to run him down. It's not going to be enough, and this looks like it will be the end of the series. And while it was an admirable attempt, it's going to look like TSH will lose this, and off the leash, taking the win and going in as the first seed of our playoffs incoming next week. Amazing play from these guys, and they are, as of thus far, statistically the best team in TCL as a result of that.
Yep, and it's a scary performance. It's a 2-0 that looks scrappy, but it kind of felt like that's how the series was always going to be, and they did it in a 2-0 fashion. So it's a scary performance because you have to be prepared to play this. They just showed that they're going to play this game every single time. It's going to be this style, these types of champions, and if you're not willing to match it or have a better strategy against it, this is probably going to be the outcome. So yeah, it's a good performance from them. It's a dominating first seed.
It is, unfortunately, Control on Syndra putting an amazing performance down, but the top side just got totally schlacked. I mean, that just is what it is. There were a lot of unfortunate misplays. That dive under top lane tower it's tough. It was tough to watch. And it's like, again, even if you get the kill, what's the benefit from that? If your Trundle gets a little strong, it's certainly not a win condition. So, yeah, I think that's one of those things where you go into game 2, you took the loss, you didn't get the mental back. It happens, and that is what I'll take mid's teams eat up. They love when that happens, and a very strong performance across all members. Who are you looking at for our MVP at this point?
I think all 5 of them had shining moments. I think Halbert was a solid side laner, put on a ton of space and pressure for his team, took every advantage he got and ran away with it. I think Chuck, even in some matchups that the jungle didn't seem favor or where he had a ton of pressure put on him, both games for different reasons, he kept, applying pressure on the map and taking neutral objectives and getting ganks off. I'll take mid, played his classic, hyper aggressive, good scrapper build, and then I think the bot lane, especially game 2, looked really good from OTL. I think it's kind of hard for me to necessarily pinpoint it. I think in my eyes, Calbert was probably the most obvious. I think he, in both games, had some really good sleeper Mordekaiser E's. And he just never lost. He just never lost the lane. He was always in control at some point. It never really felt like he made a bad play.
Correct. Let's pull Calbert in, and we're gonna have to just, have him keep it PG. That's what we're looking for.
Calbert's always PG.
Yeah, Calvert is not always PG. Mr. Burt, you're here with us. You are our MVP, and without putting anyone specific down, tell us.
Man,
tell us how you
5 people down, to be honest. But I mean, this felt like the second game just felt like a scrim where everyone wanted to go to bed. When we saw the champ select, it was just kind of like, okay, let's just win this and just go have some fun tonight.
I did literally say that as they picked that Silas, which
you did.
when you pick something weird like that, it tells me that you don't think that you're going to win on your regular picks, so you feel like you have to bring out the cheese. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it did feel like that's how they came to this game.
Yeah, and I shout out to my team. Like, Chuck played phenomenally. Like, if he shows up like that every week, I think it's an easy path for us to the championship. Eli didn't flame anyone this game, which was awesome. Normally,
unusual.
Flame going on. Yeah.
Unusual.
Yeah, yep. Unusual. But I mean, just overall, like, our bot lane just outshined them. And Nick, I think, is probably the best support. Nomad is probably the best support in the league. And I've been saying it every week, and I think he shows it every week. Game 1, he got a little feisty on the pike, but he dialed it back and just won that lane super easy.
So, given the type of team comp that you went up against, what was the planning going into those games? Obviously, you didn't know that you were going to be gifted a kill at the start of the game, but you were able to have a very strong lane. I think game 1, Music did not play so well against you. Game 2, I think we talked about this on the cast. He was put in a really tough position, and frankly, I think he did the best he could with what he was given. As Ornn into Mord when the Mord's going to get a 1-0. But you played that side lane well, but what was the plan on the rest of the map that you were talking about in the pregame where you thought your win condition would be?
To be honest, like, I knew I was gonna win lane, and like getting Mord as like a lane bully and then being able to show up late, and I could build AP or tank, but like just keeping my TP advantage and then just having that flex, we were able to get 6 grubs I think both games, and I don't know, it's a little unfortunate that they just kind of left him out to dry. They put him on Trundle, and I would say it's more Mord favored, so they didn't do him any favors. Picking Ornn in the first rotation was kind of questionable because and not banning Mord, like that's really the hard counter to it, and I don't know. And then coach just ran it down. I was I try not to type in all chat, but when I break the seal, it's just you got to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that one was tough because one of the things we talked about on the cast is just what's the best case scenario there, right? Is
you 1-for-1, and then you lose your red buff, you lose your advantage that you maybe got for smiting away red buff from our jungler, and instead it just threw the lane. It allowed Chuck to catch back up. It was just a bad play, and
it was unfortunate because it started off well. He had it was a great invade, and it was a great gank. It just needed to stop after you flashed, but it felt personal when he was running at you. And then obviously you get the last laugh at the end of it, but
and that's what could happen is you can turn it right. You can turn it around, and obviously, just given a champ like Ornn has no ability to fight back, it's going to set you ahead of the lane. But so bot lane that game, interestingly, you guys played against the Callista and the Silas. Did you see that coming? We thought that was very surprising, but we haven't been following scrims. So what did you know about that?
we've been watching this team play on and off, and like, we know their support can't play support, so we were kind of waiting for him to play a mid champ. But I mean, it didn't matter. Like we honestly we were looking, and like I think maybe 5 seconds before the game started, we were like, wait, that's a Silas bot. And then it was just kind of like, meh.
We had the
okay.
same thing. Yeah, we were like, wait, we don't understand where that Silas is going. Nomad picking the Poppy, was that something that had been planned? Because I don't think we had seen anything like that from him this season.
No, and that's what's cool is like he's a gamer. Like this guy can play whatever in whatever type of capacity. Like he could play an enchanter, he could play an engage, and then he's like, just pick me Poppy, and we're like, all right, not even second guessing it. So.
Yeah, well, one notable thing is for anyone who saw that I posted in the TCL content, the remaining scenarios, given that OTL won, that actually means that we are guaranteed the same bracket situation no matter what. That is, we had two scenarios. One scenario was OTL wins and SOS wins, and that game is going to be happening tomorrow. One was that OTL wins and then YAP wins tomorrow. But as it turns out, whether or not SOS or YAP wins, it actually will have, because of the tiebreakers that will happen in scenario 2, because there's a 3-way tiebreaker for 2 and 3, and SOS will win that because they both beat Team Shai Halud and No Reply. SOS will actually get 3 seed no matter what. So what it's looking to be is, as we go into playoffs, there you go. And as we go into playoffs, this is going to be interesting. And actually, our friends on the cast here, between Sandy and myself, so TSH and No Reply will play for the 4th versus 5th place game. It is the playoff, and the winner of that will play against Calbert here in OTL. So TSH versus NR, it might be a repeat of this week, and it would be a best of 5 instead of a best of 3. And I think that would be really exciting because we all really enjoyed watching the matchup today. Of course, No Reply could win, and then No Reply would go on to play against Off the Leash. And then Tasty Crab Legs and Snake Oil Salesman on the other side, the 2 and the 3 seeds will be playing for that semifinal, and then the winner of that will go on to the finals to play, hopefully Off the Leash. If you guys pull it together, then that's how that would look. So we're all really excited. I think that this regular season's been awesome. Calbert, before we log off here, anything else you want to say? We're going to be going into playoffs. You're going to get that bye. You're not exactly sure who you're going to be playing against, but I'm sure you're confident either way. How does it feel to be number 1 seed, and what do you want to say to the fans?
Honestly, I'm used to being the number 1 seed, so this is a pretty normal feeling going into playoffs. But shout out to Control. Like, he's definitely the hardest mid laner to play against because he just plays so smart. It's just, he just needs some support around him, and honestly, like, I don't know. I think that team would be pretty good. But yeah, my team played great, and looking forward to playoffs.
Sounds good. Thank you, Cal.
Good job, buddy.
All right, folks, we are out of here. We are going to be coming tomorrow with our last regular season game. Notably, as discussed, that regular season game will have zero impact on anything. It will be for fun. And so the question is will these teams pull out something fun? Will SOS be looking to use this as practice for playoffs? Sandy, I guess that's a question for you. You got any plans for tomorrow?
I'm picking Shaco.
You're picking Shaco. Shaco in the mid lane. Is that going to be an AP Shaco or?
No, it's going to be like full tank Shaco. Yeah. Maybe with an Infinity Edge. Probably something like that.
Yeah, that sounds kind of nice. Well, we will see tomorrow. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry we kind of took a little bit of time to get in at the beginning, but I appreciate you sticking in. I hope you had so much fun. And we will see you tomorrow, and then we will see you the week after for playoffs. Talk to you all soon. Thank you.